Hey everybody, GM to you wherever you are in the world. I see that we've got a meetup wrapping up in Davao in the Philippines. Hey to you guys.
Everybody,
I know we've got a lot of
GM to
people
you
that have
wherever
just
you are
arrived
in
in
the
San
world.
Francisco,
I
gearing
see
up
that we've
for the Game Developers Conference this week. Hello to everybody there. And thank you for joining us online for this big announcement today. So as you know, we've got a special update from YGG. Bit of housekeeping really quickly before we get started. My name's Leah. I'm from Emphasis, if we haven't met before. So thank you for having me here to host this AMA. And if you do have questions for the group, chuck them in Discord in our AMA discussion channel. We're going to have a quick presentation. Actually, when I say quick, not too quick, because we've actually got quite a bit to cover today and it's very exciting. But once we do actually get past the presentation, we're going to be throwing over questions to you guys as usual. So feel free to get stuck in early, put your questions in the AMA. We'll be queuing them up and getting to them as soon as we get to Q&A time, probably like with 20 minutes to go maybe. So look forward to hearing for everything that you've got to ask. But without further ado, let's throw over to you, Gabby, and give us the lowdown on this very special update today.
Hi everyone, it's good to see you here. I just arrived in San Francisco to share a lot of exciting things about YGG community and where we're headed to the rest of the crypto and game industry this week. But before we share with the rest of the world, we wanted to share with you guys first, our community. So that's why we're here Sunday evening in Asia, Sunday morning, very early here in San Francisco. And we want to share a little bit about a recap about the YGG journey and then where we're headed in the future. So it's now been a little over 2.5 years since we started YGG, and a lot of the early start of YGG could actually be found in Discord. First, starting with the Philippines channel Axie Infinity, and then moving over to our own YGG Discord right here, where a lot of things have happened in the industry in the last 2+ years. We've seen our community grow a lot, starting from Axie scholarships. YGG has evolved a lot, and we've seen so much change in the entire industry. We've grown to a lot of different games. We've hosted very strong communities in games such as League of Kingdoms, Splinterlands, and a lot more. And yeah, we've seen the ups and downs of the industry, not only the incredible growth that happened in 2021, but a lot of the lows that happened in 2022. And a lot of people think about or ask about what's next for guilds, what's happening. And I want to share with you that YGG itself did not really pivot. It's always been our vision of where we're headed, being able to connect community with virtual economies around the world via these NFT and blockchain enabled games that we wanted to do. So a lot of the work that we're showing now has been the product of work by the entire team within the last year. And yeah, it's just to fulfill our vision. We're always evolving, and we've been keeping this under wraps because there's been so much work to do. And honestly, this is what we spent the entire bear market doing. So we want to start unveiling that now and telling the new story of where YGG is headed.
I can jump in here. Yeah, hey everybody. I think one of the things that we did, very critically last year was, we invested quite a lot in building out our product organization at YGG, right? So we over that time we promoted Nightav from a leader on our software side to really bringing being someone that can drive the product vision at YGG. We also brought on Jen Yu, who has kind of a wealth of both design and product experience as well. And so, over the last year, they've been working on, I think several initiatives that really brings YGG not just from, a community of players or from sort of, play to earn business, the play to earn business model to, something that we can use to empower our community and kind of have compounding results, not just through the next crypto summer, but also kind of perpetually here through the current and future crypto winters. So, with that, I think would love to hear from Knight and Jen here.
think, Jen, you're up first, right? Or I can go ahead and go in there. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for coming. I wanted to share some of the stuff we've been building. But yeah, let's actually kick this off by looking at a specific problem in the space that you guys have no doubt have some experience with. So imagine you're a game or an NFT project or even a DAO, and you're looking to improve your fortunes by gaining players or users, and you want to give something away. In your mind, that the most efficient way to do this, like you want to get these things you're giving away into the hands of the best people for them. You don't want to give it away to bots, flippers, multi-accounts, farmers, etc. But all you have is somebody's Twitter handle or a Discord name or a single wallet address. That's doesn't really tell you a whole lot. And so in the end, at the end of the day, most projects end up just kind of giving it away randomly via lottery or sweepstakes, contest, etc., hoping for the best. But that really doesn't get those things in the hands of the most useful or interested or dedicated players. And ultimately, that population doesn't really have a lot of great tools to identify themselves and make themselves known to these projects, companies, games that really desperately want their attention. So that's kind of solving that problem is kind of at the heart of what we're doing here. Is we're trying to level the playing field so that as it becomes harder and harder to identify the real people, the valuable people in the space, that you guys and we can fight back. So as far as what we're delivering, the last year we've been upgrading all of our foundational technology. We've leveled up our backend systems. We've moved from the concept of a single wallet based account into full multi-chain, multi-wallet, multi-social YGG accounts, and then we're starting to focus on those features that enable us to highlight and capture the value of individual users and their contributions to communities and games. So the first, I think some of you guys, well, actually, yeah, probably a decent bit of you guys, if you've participated in GAP, you saw kind of an early preview of this in February. So the onboarding process for signing up for an account and registering for GAP achievements, that was actually the initial beta for the full system. The things that are going live this week, I mean, we've got a lot of new branding and style stuff that Jen's going to talk about here shortly. At the heart of that is going to be your user profile. The user profile, well, so that's where we're going to be focusing a lot of attention over the next few months. But right off the bat, you're going to have, if you earn any GAP achievements, you'll see those featured there. There's also the opportunity to indicate which games that you're playing out of our games catalog. So please go ahead and add in your games. This will make it easier for you to find other people who are playing, to indicate to others what you're up to. We've got customizable avatars and usernames coming out shortly and soon, as well as the next major milestone that we're working on, which is the deeper quest system. So we've had GAP for a year now, and that's been a very, I guess, long form questing. We're hard to work on the shorter form, more daily, weekly style questing, and then I guess where we go from there, quests lead us very naturally into progressions, leveling up, and ultimately the benefits of leveling up, which is, I think, where things really start getting exciting. But in order to get there, we had to build out this the account system, tools for tracking, and really the way for you guys to highlight what all you're doing, both internally to YGG and to the rest of the world. Yeah, your profile will be deep linkable. We think it's a very attractive profile that you'll be able to really show off and highlight throughout your Web3 journey. So I think that's enough about features and functionality. So yeah, I'll turn it over to Jen.
Awesome. Thanks, Knight. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm Jen. I'm the head of design here at YGG. And before we start, I just want to thank everyone for coming, because the design team has been quietly building a lot of stuff for several months, and we're really looking forward to share what we've been up to. So I've been here for almost a year, and I've been working with so many of you to develop a new look for YGG, and this was truly a team effort. So shout out and thank you to so many of you who helped shape what we're about to show. Dun, 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 dun. All right, here's where we're coming from, and here's where we're going. So whenever we go into a rebrand, we really have to be careful about preserving the things we love about it while making room for the future. And the most important signifier for YGG is really the shield. It signifies community and that sense of belonging in the guild. Now, this was actually a really tough design challenge to kind of keep this medieval vibe, but also modernizing it. We wanted to honor YGG's history of guilds and all the games that we play that are, full of knights and wizards and adventures. But we also wanted to modernize it because YGG has grown so much in the last couple of years, where we have so many people coming to us from different places. We have players, we have creators, we have streamers, we have coaches, we have developers, we have so many different kinds of people all the way from Asia to Europe, and we are continuing to grow. So we really wanted to be able to celebrate our community with how we really approach the new design. And because of this, we started with a question of how we can really highlight individuals and different guilds in YGG. So when we started thinking about our brand, we didn't want to make just one logo, but we wanted a way to make many, many, many logos to show off all the different groups, playing with YGG, because this really represents our philosophy around our new design system. YGG is many people coming together to make something bigger, and these small pieces are just building blocks to create something much bigger. So here's a first look at our rune builder. So let's check out how these small pieces really make something bigger. On the left, we have our grid system where you can stack and see kind of like how you can piece together these individual blocks. And then in the middle, we start to see how the building blocks start to form a shape or a logo or an image of some sort. Now, the new YGG logo here that you see is really the first of many, many things we can create. And really, these pieces are here for everyone to be able to make their own runes. You'll also notice that we have a lot more colors that we're going to be using in the new brand. And, because of the growing community and different personalities at YGG, the way we thought about color was that we didn't want to just use one color, we wanted all of them. Because we're not just going to tell you to use the color blue. If you don't like blue, that's okay. Please pick a different color because we welcome you to make it your own. So now, how do we think about decentralizing a brand? There's so much talk about decentralizing in Web3, and so this design challenge was to think about how much we could also decentralize our brand. Decentralizing a brand means that it belongs to everyone, and you can create something of your own. Everything about the YGG brand is a building block in our new brand kit, because this is an invitation. We want to see what you can come up with. And finally, here's a demo of different groups, that have started using the different runes and colors. You can really see, all the pieces coming together here, because we really wanted to show you what the different possibilities are and how each group can be unique, can express themselves, can have their own colors, but still be a big part of YGG. And so this is really how we sum up our brand story. We're all individuals, we're part of a whole, and we're building something together. All right, so thanks everyone again for coming to check out our new designs. We got, this is just the first look. We got so much more in store. Check out our new website, yaleguild.io, that we're going to push out after this event. As Knight mentioned, we have so many, new features and stuff that we're pushing out. If you're interested in coming up with your own runes, we're actually going to release the brand kit on our website around, very soon. And we'll let you know when it's up. All right. So finally, shout out to the design team. Again, it takes a village to actually do all of this stuff. Cliff on brand strategy and design. He really was responsible for so much of the rune system. Angel, content and brand strategy. Johan on UX and UI illustrations. Kelly, UI systems, brand design. They're going to be around for the AMA, so please be sure to ask some questions.
Yeah, something I want to emphasize, and thank you, Jen and team, for that, is that the rebrand and redesign is not just for the sake of having a new logo. As you can see from what Jen presented, this is actually coming up with something like a brand Legos. YGG is made up of dozens, if not hundreds, of individual communities, and we wanted to create a system where we can show the unique identity of YGG, but still show the individuality of the different parts of YGG. So we're starting with some of the teams that are part of YGG Core, Pilipinas, YGG Elite have started to create their own logos using the new rune system that we've made. In the very near future, we want the community groups to come up with their own runes. And this is something that we want you to represent yourselves on the internet as a group, in Discord, in the different games around Web3 that we're playing. You can express your group towards as a group under the YGG umbrella through the new runes and logos. So these branding Legos are for you to use and to create, and we'll be coming up with tools to help you do so in the near future.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jen, and also Gabby at the end there too. We're going to go straight into Q&A time now, but Boogie was asking what are the reasons for the rebrand and redesign. I think Gabby just covered that a little bit there, but this is a really, really big question. So would anyone else from the team like to weigh in on that in terms of the reasons, the motivations for this massive rebrand and redesign? Jen's just given us an amazing overview in terms of the design challenge and how the team addressed that. But if there's anyone else from YGG Core that would love to jump in and maybe even share your experience a little bit about what it's been like over the last few months going through those thought processes.
A bit before you guys get in deep into the motivations behind the specific rebrand, when we launched, 2.5 years ago, I mean, that things came together pretty fast. I don't think we ever intended for that stuff to be permanent. I mean, obviously the sword and the shield, yes, but I think, yeah, I've been eagerly awaiting this process for a while. I don't think the old, the V1 DAP was. We put that together pretty fast just to get up and running. So super excited. We're finally moving into something, I guess, worthy of the the YGG name. So.
Did anyone else want to add to that in terms of motivations, reasons, weighing onto the rebrand and redesign?
Yeah, I can add a little bit more that we didn't really talk about in the presentation is really, also the color. One of the things that we talked about extensively within YGG is also, one of the reasons to rebrand is also to stand out, right, and set ourselves apart. And color was such a big thing around that, where just having this entire spectrum and be able to really flexibly work with the color to really help us stand out. And again, really anchoring on sort of like the community aspect of it, being able to not just kind of like assign one color, right? Like we want all the colors, because that'll be the bit that sets us apart. We're not just like purple, right? We're not just like green. And so we can kind of like really, own so many things about like so many aspects of the of the gaming industry.
Totally. I think to Jen's point about really just a multitude of colors, and Gabby's point about the YGG community being composed of many groups, right? I think I think the word to really latch onto here as a community is that this isn't just a single design. This is a design system, right? And YGG is over time a network composed of I think Gabby has I think Gabby has a phrase that I think a lot of people should remember from kind of the very early days of YGG, which is YGG as a guild of guilds, right? And so when we think through this design system, right, it's not just a single logo redesign. It's not just a single a single UI or anything like that. It's actually a system by which we can have kind of a consistent design aesthetic over time across YGG core, the different YGG core functions. Like, I think, for growth ops, which is kind of the little corner of the org I manage, I want like a little mini rune for that team. And, maybe we'll get a rune for the, we'll have a rune for the dev team. YGG PH has a rune, right? And so over time, groups at YGG, not just across core, but through the whole community, can identify via their own logo, via their own rune, right? And so that design system is one that we think will scale very well across the different kind of communities within YGG. YGG is a guild of guilds, right? So I think thinking on a system level is really where this new system will shine.
Yeah, I can add. Hi, I'm Cliff. I'm on Jen's team, helping a lot with the overall brand design that you saw here. I was definitely the main architect behind the whole rune system, and would love to just talk a little bit about some of that too. Basically, we definitely saw this as being about this guild of guild idea that Colin just raised, and part of the design that Jen had shared earlier, if you recall, there was a kind of a grid where the YGG was formed on top of it. This was actually designed to allow for any guild out there, anybody who wants to kind of, be part of the house of guilds that we have, or the guild of guilds that we have. You can create your own identifier. And the idea is that you can make, your own kind of framing shape. Like the YGG has a very specific shield, but you can create your own shield. Or you'll see it in one of the house banners that was shown earlier. The Philippines team actually made the star, the sun, right? And there's so much you can do with this. So the system is definitely designed for you to kind of take it in any direction you want, while still retaining some sense of connection to the whole community. And in terms of color, I think a really important point was what Gabby said early on. We're sort of looking ahead, toward a crypto spring at some point, and we wanted to really aim this brand as something that was optimistic and inclusive, as Jen had said. And the brightness, the vibrancy of it was really about, looking toward the goodness and the possibility and potential of where we can go with YGG.
Thanks for adding on there, Cliff. We had a few questions from the community, which sort of weigh into what you were just talking about, but let's go over each of them just to make sure that everyone's super clear on this, because there's a lot to unpack. So Cuckoo was asking specifically, can he pattern the new design to his sub-guild design as well?
The short answer is yes. If you recall what Jen was showing earlier, that's a good example of how you could pattern it. We have groups like the YGG Elite team are actually literally using the YGG Y logo as part of their mark, because they're very closely associated with core. However, if you wanted to make your own version of the runes, just by virtue of using the rune Lego building blocks, you're already automatically going to feel like you're part of the bigger whole, but you're given pretty much infinite freedom to do whatever you need to express the values and the identity of your sub-guild.
That's awesome. That's super cool. I hope that answers your question, Cuckoo. But if you had any follow-up questions in terms of how to do it, like, feel free to jump in again. But we also had a question from Mangdags. They are asking, this is specifically around like how to get these runes. So are they acquired through quests? Are they NFTs? Like maybe you can talk a little bit about the nature of actually getting these and owning them.
So I'll jump in. So we're still working on the how to make them official. Like so we've got builder tools in process for actually like making the art part of it. But then there's also a separate question of like what makes them official. So I know Colin and I've had some early kind of jam sessions on that. At this point we're not ready to I guess get into specifics on that, but we want to get people designing them and then minting them in some capacity soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to add to that, I'm sorry, Leah.
Awesome.
And yeah, to add to that, before we get into thinking through just kind of like any kind of like minting process, we are going to be issuing the the design kit for the runes. So just watch out for it. We'll actually put it on our site like in the next few months for folks who kind of like want to for the overachievers who want to go ahead and start checking them out and start seeing what they can do with it.
Yeah, that's super cool. It sounds like this is sort of still in early stages too, in terms of figuring out what that's going to look like moving forward. But I'm really loving this community approach as well. So I'm sure there'll be lots of feedback from the community now that they know what's been under the wraps for the last few months. Looks like Cuckoo is already working on something for the Level Up crew, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's designs. We've got, send more questions, guys, because we've got the whole design team here, and you can really ask whatever you like, share ideas, go for it. We'll be watching that chat. We did have a question from Sparky. He wants to know when event in Davao, which I think is an amazing idea. And we definitely need more events in the Philippines this year. Okay, Ensmail was asking, right click and save. Am I doing it right? Yeah, nice one. We've actually got some questions that have come through on DM. Oh, hang on. Bibbs has just asked, do we have a gap quest in the future where users will build their own runes and we will have a voting system? That's an interesting idea. Anyone want to share thoughts on that?
So I mean, Mark's taking notes on all this. I think runes always probably are built for a purpose. So, but when we need runes, I don't see why we wouldn't potentially put that out there.
Nice. And this is great too. Yeah, anyone else who has ideas, like pop them in the chat. We've got one here from The Real Cupcake. She wants to know, will the brand guidelines be available for the community? It's a good one.
Short answer, yeah. Short answer is yes. We are actually actively working on the first releases of this. The actual release date is still TBD, but we're trying to get this out to you as quickly as possible. And it'll probably come in progressive layers. So the first, the first versions of this might not have a rune generator app per se, but it would definitely provide you at the very minimum with the building blocks you need and some kind of very clear guidelines, maybe even some videos on with tutorials on how to actually do this, and we'll provide some ideas with inspiration as well.
Awesome. All right, we've got some that have come through on DM as well. So, okay, this one, these are anon questions. So this person would like to know, who can make a rune? How do we get access to the rune building blocks that were introduced? Who would like to tackle that?
I think the idea here was, I think the idea here was that like everyone could get access to the runes. Like this was
Awesome.
literally made for the community, right? Yeah.
Truly decentralized.
I mean, from a like when will files be available kind of standpoint, I think so. I mean, I have a mind to take take high quality copies of those, turn it into like a sprite sheet, and then you can either building like a web interface or using off the shelf tools to make it. Like I'm sure people could just I mean you could definitely screenshot it off of this presentation as a start. But yeah, no, we're going to try and make it easier.
Awesome. We've got another one here. When new merch with the new logo, will there be any opportunities to purchase or even earn merch?
I love that question.
Yes. Yes, we love merch. We are working on a few, and I think yeah, if Knight or Gabby want to speak more to how we're gonna treat the merch in the future.
Sweet. We've got another one here. I think we sort of already covered this, but it's asking something kind of a little bit more specific. So I'll just read it out again. They're asking about where can we find the files for the new logo and color schemes if we want to create our own emojis or graphics related to the guild. So I think that's sort of been covered with the design kit question. But if anyone wants to add anything there, feel free to jump in. Nope, I think we covered it.
Yeah, we covered it.
Yep,
As soon
cool.
as possible. As soon as possible, and we'll get it to you. We'll let the community managers basically send out you know, an invite, and we'll have all the links and details for that when it's ready.
Nice. All right. Keep those questions coming. Got another one here on DM. So what role will the rune design system play within the YGG protocol, and how do product and design collaborate with one another? Oh, that's a good question. Maybe one for you, Knight.
Let me take just reflect on that a little bit. So if you think about these runes, they reflect different groups within YGG. But what we actually want them to be long term is really reflect your Web3 group on the internet. In the same way that your ENS reflects your Web3 name, we want your YGG rune to reflect your Web3 group affiliation. So think about that in the long term. We want YGG to be a protocol that represents Web3 groups on the internet. And that is how we're thinking about it, that will go to the different products and programs that we're doing. If Knight wants to get a little more specific, feel free.
I mean, not much to add on the runes this second, but I mean, as far as you know, product and design, I mean, we, you know, so we've got some very specific, it's called, problem solving feature type objectives. Design ultimately is what makes it pleasant and look good, and that's such a valuable part of this. You know, I mean, I think all throughout this process, I mean, we collabed heavily on, you know, which features to prioritize for this release, and even while we were upgrading all the backend tech, you know, which pieces were going to be sufficient to actually like take something to the community, to bring something out here that was, you know, relatively self-contained. But no, it's been a pretty wild collab over the last, you know, what, 9 months or so. Yeah, Jen, do you want to?
Yeah, it's at this point it's pretty hard to separate like where product, you know, begins and when does, you know, design begin. Yeah, I think the way we also think about design here is like it's not really just kind of like the aesthetics, right? It's not just the pictures. As you can see, the design themselves also fulfill a function, right? When, you know, being able to actually create, you know, identity builders for the community, you know, I mean, as just like one example. So we're really digging into kind of like how things work, what's going to be like the most valuable and the most useful, you know, features and objects, you know, that we can share with kind of like the broader group. That's generally how we're approaching the entire process.
Gultra, did you want to add anything in terms of how this team has come together? Because I know you played a huge role in bringing everyone to the table on this one.
Yeah, I think in my head I don't disassociate them, right? Like, so I think, you know, product dev and design have been, you know, working very closely and in kind of tight harmony for the past several months, right? I think, you know, we found ourselves, you know, a little more than a year ago, you know, really trying to focus on building this function out as a top priority, right? I think it's the primary way to, you know, you kind of have to build your way out of the crypto winter, right? And so, you know, I know, you know, Knight and Jen and Nam and Mark and kind of the whole team have, you know, work really closely together. I think they, you know, Jen informs Knight, you know, pretty meaningfully about roadmap things. I mean, you know, Nam is very involved as well on the dev side, and so, you know, they work sufficiently closely together that in my head, I don't decouple their workflow very much, right? And I think they've really been kind of rowing in the same direction for several months now, and so we're going to start seeing a lot of the fruits of these labors. Yeah.
So he's on this call. I think he may be scrambling on some tech stuff on the back end. But Nam, we haven't given you the floor yet. But like the devs are a huge part of this delivery also. Could we want to take a chance to recognize their efforts as well? Sure. Again, he may be in the trenches. Well, but
I think
no.
he might actually,
there he goes. There he goes.
he might actually be coding and pushing out the site.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Software developers were kind of back in the shadows, making sure that things are running smoothly. So the entire team is actually online right now, ensuring a smooth transition to the new site. At this point in time, if you guys are curious, come to yieldguild.io and you'll see what all the amazing stuff we've been doing is now live now. So I want to thank the entire team. We've been growing, over the past few months, focusing and working on all the product requirements that are coming through, and really loving the design and the new branding that was introduced by the design team. They've challenged us in some of the layouts and the designs that are coming in, but it was a fun ride all the way through. So yeah, mad props to the team there.
Thanks, Nam. It's really awesome to just see everyone's excitement and enthusiasm in the chat right now. I can see you all sort of jumping on the site and checking out the socials and seeing the new brand live. And keep posting where you are in the world, because we're just seeing people from everywhere. We've got SF in New York that I know of, Davao, QC in the Philippines, where else? So please post your pics and show us where you're coming in from today. We just had another question on DM, which is digging into a little bit more around how this whole new brand came about. And given we're hearing from some people today that we don't always get to bring up on the stage, Angel, if you're there, I think this would be a great question for you. So they're just asking, we heard about the idea about staying true to guilds. This person would love to know, how did the design team actually approach the whole research process to come up with that final design? Like, how did that actually kick off and get started? We got you there, Angel?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, actually, it's a process that's taken a long time, so I'm trying to answer this quickly. But yeah, we were just taking a look at the community and also what's out there, right? So we were, as Jen was mentioning, there were a lot of design that is a little darker in the gamer space, and we wanted to really focus on inclusivity, also where games are heading. So yeah, sorry, I'm not doing it quickly, but there were a lot of considerations of games coming out.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to this, because like Angel actually did so much market research. She really kind of I think opened up the internet and grabbed all the data underneath it.
I was like, which column?
Yeah, and then on top of that, Cliff and I did work a lot, including Johan and Kelly. We worked very closely with different community members. We were just kind of grabbing a bunch of people from Discord, whenever we could, because we really wanted to make sure that, we really were honoring sort of the community vibe and, making sure we're building the right things.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Really interesting to get a bit of insight into how this all came about. Mel Cordo has a question. She wants to know, is there a name for the adorable little blockhead guy? And if not, should we name him?
Ooh, I like the idea of letting you guys name him.
So it's this is a little sneak peek. Community gets a little alpha on the little dude. So we won't really say that much about him for now. Stay tuned.
Okay, and I guess if people have ideas, they can chuck them in the chat as well. Okay, I've got another one here. By the way, guys, just keep jumping your questions in that chat so that we can bring them up. But I've got one here that's coming on DM. So now that the new brand is launched, what comes next? What can we expect in terms of the next product milestone? Oh, that sounds like a good one for Knight, I think.
We touched on it a little earlier, but yeah, just to recap, so the profile is the flagship feature for the call it the immediate term. So adding more capabilities for customizing and highlighting are I guess where we're hitting right out of the gate, because that's obvious. How you can have a profile without being able to change your username and avatar. Want to put more on it? I think you may have noticed the old app had like an inventory section, sword and shield, to bring those back, show your inventory. But the longer term release is the quest system. Like that's the next major thing. And so for that, I feel shy saying it. What I want to see out of it are daily and weekly quests for as many games as we can get on this platform. We want an excuse for you to come in, play games, get rewarded as often as possible. So that's the next big piece.
Did anyone want to add to that in terms of product milestones, things coming up next for YGG, perhaps even somewhere, I guess, elsewhere in the guild beyond product?
Yeah, I want to talk about it a bit. So the rebrand and the new website, which you can look at right now, is really just the base and the foundation for all of the new things that we're doing at YGG. So Knight was talking about the quest system, and of course we've been doing GAP for over a year already. What we want to see are really very tight integrations between games quests and the YGG quest system, and have the badges recognized, having each game's achievement badges recognized within YGG and vice versa. So we've been showing different games what we've been doing with the quest system, and are working on some officially recognized quests. So you can look forward to that in the future. We'll see which games we can integrate with, including some that are you can see in the graphics that we have right now. And yeah, we want to be able to show the profile, what you're playing, what achievements you've earned in these games, building up your player reputation and your group standing within Web3 to show the stuff that you've done across different Web3 games.
A bit about what's coming up in San Francisco at the Game Developers Conference this week, because that's obviously a super important meeting for the games industry annually. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what's coming up there.
Yeah, so Game Developers Conference, or GDC, is the biggest game conference in the world for developers to go together. It's not a consumer conference like a PAX or an E3 where there's a lot of gamers. This is really for the game developers to see what's coming up next in the world of games across all fields: PC, gaming, mobile, Web3. And of course, we're here to represent what's happening in the Web3 front. And it's really the reason why we're doing this now is that we wanted to show that YGG is leading the way forward when it comes to Web3 gaming, showing that not only with a new brand, but what we're doing connecting communities to different games is our main message that we have here. We want to show that we can bring communities to people's games, whether we're talking to the indie game developers or the largest game companies that are considering going into Web3. All of them want and need a very strong community in games, and that's what we're here to represent.
Yeah, just on that, Gabby, because my first GDC was last year, and I remember you talking a little bit about the timeline, because you've been coming to this conference for many, 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 many years. And like, how has the Web3 landscape changed here, and what do you expect it's going to be like this year? Because I think over a pretty short period of time, it's gone from no blockchain games to it being one of the most exciting topics at the entire event.
Yeah, so this is, I think, my 12th year attending GDC in San Francisco. And the first time we talked about NFTs was actually 5 years ago in 2018. So we were at a small side event, and we had people like Dapper Labs, CryptoKitties, we had Neon District, we had Engine talking about NFTs in games. And there was a very small crowd to listen to us back then. So 5 years later, fast forward 2023, I think this is one of the main topics all week. There's going to be lots of different events. My meeting calendar is so full. We've got a huge contingent of the YGG team here to talk about all of the different stuff that we're doing. So it's really exciting to see the growth that Web3 gaming has seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're coming up to the top of the hour. If anyone has any final questions, stick them in the chat. We'll read them out. But while we're waiting for that, would everyone just like to share final thoughts? I mean, this has been a massive discussion. It is a totally new look for YGG. Like, just share us with some final thoughts that the community can take away in terms of what they can look forward to next. Gabby, do you want to kick us off? Final thoughts?
Yeah, so this is a big announcement that this is really just the beginning. This sets the stage for everything that we're going to be doing. Quests, achievements, reputation, profiles, representing your own group in Web3. These are all themes that are very important going forward. And we wanted you guys, our community, to know first before everyone else.
Yeah, I love that. There's going to be a massive reveal at GDC this week, but it was really important to the team that this came out on Discord first to share with the OG YGG community. Guys, any further final thoughts? Knight, Jen, did you want to just add in there?
This was a pretty big bite. I'm glad we got it out. This means we can start taking some smaller bites along the way. Because there's always, I guess there's a lot of smaller opportunities that have been difficult to realize, knowing that we'd have to kind of build it in the context of the old brand and the old site. So having this all out should give us a lot more flexibility in terms of delivering smaller pages, individual features, campaigns, etc. So really looking forward to having that delivery, flexibility on the product side.
But also on the design side, I think we have a few more big bites left to take. Yeah, in the same way that, like what Gabby was saying, that we really are at the starting line. Everything that we're delivering here is really just like V1, from brand, from product to features. There's a whole lot more coming, folks.
That's awesome. Unless we have any further final thoughts or any final questions, we are at the top of the hour, so I think we'll wrap. I think we need to get off this call and go work on merch, because that seems to be something that is of top priority to the community. Me too. But thank you so much for everyone coming along. Super excited to be able to finally reveal this, because it's been in the works for such a long time. And stay tuned for a lot more coming up soon.